There we go. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Friday anime stream. It's been a long time.
Yeah, long time since
time.
I've been here.
Yes.
I've grown a beard in the meantime. I'm Rip Van Winkle or Rip Van Evan.
Totally. And I'm out a couple of weeks, so good to be back. JJ not loving Granbelm. Fair enough. JJ is I don't know how much I should share on stream about people we know. So you know JJ. I'll just put it that way.
Hey.
Yes, in real life. Hey, Game Escape. Good to see you. Hey, Ginger. Yes, I'm mostly better. Still got some throat issues. I'm still kind of coughing and so forth. But whatever.
I'll subtitle for him.
Thank you very
It
much.
may not match.
Let's see here.
Scrolling.
So, Jay, what are the two anime you've never owned but are your favorites for your that you got for your birthday, which is always awesome?
Favorites that I don't know.
Yeah, a lot.
Roanoke. Otaku.
Yes.
Ginger. Yes.
Honey lemon tea and absolutely helps. As does hard alcohol. No, wait. Bad idea. Gotta adjust
me
the
a little
lights
hoarse.
a little bit. You have a little horse?
A little horse in my throat.
Has it fit in?
I coughed up a stable.
So, Bebop and Samurai 7. Oh, cool.
Samurai 7.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun one.
I never finished Samurai 7. I need to get back to that.
Bebop is, I gotta say, Bebop is great.
Yeah.
Bebop is great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Netflix is doing that Bebop live action series. So,
When's that supposed to be out?
I don't know.
I want to see that.
Yeah,
I'm
curious.
anxious to see. I mean, how do you...
They've been in radio silence, and I wonder if it's one of
Yeah.
those things where let's just get all our ducks in a row before we
We
show
don't want
anything.
to panic the masses. Can you believe this or that? Oh, okay, well, we'll just panic when it comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Samurai 7 is underrated.
Samurai 7 came out. It was a pretty big deal when it came out, I remember, like on DVD over here. And then it just sank.
You know, it's sad. I think most people may not be aware, but Samurai 7 is based around Akira Kurosawa's... Did I say his name right?
Kurosawa.
Kurosawa.
Yeah.
Akira Kurosawa's Seven
Seven
Samurai,
right.
reverse of it, but and it follows kind of similar conceptually. But there was also a Western, The Magnificent Seven, that was the same sort of theme. And this is a recurring story. The farmers who are pressed upon by larger forces trying to hire people to save them, and they end up sacrificing themselves in the process, and everybody learns a good lesson. That's a great story. Check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good story.
Yeah.
It's a good but all of them. Magnificent Seven, Seven Samurai, Samurai 7. Samurai 7. Seven Magnificent? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
It's one of the rare properties where it's gotten adapted. I'm sure there have been bad versions of that, but we've had like three really amazing versions of that same story.
I love it when somebody retells a story and they have their own sort of spin on it. I almost wish all the different animation producers would get together and, okay, we're all going to do this story and we're all going to tell it our own way and just have a fest where people can enjoy this.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Kingdoms, the Kingdom story has been told and interpreted. The
the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
The Three Kingdoms.
Yeah.
The Three Kingdoms has been told several times. Each, and now I wonder what's the canon.
I've never seen like what is the version of that thing, which is kind of hey YK2K, good to see you. Been a little while, I think. Awesome to see you back here. So I think what we're gonna do, you know what? I hear it. I think because we're all here, I think it's time for the news. I was having red man physically on my head when this was on because it just tied this There we go. Welcome back to the anime news for the week ending September 27th, 2019. We got there. Starting with more news about Mangamura. Imagine that. So the alleged administrator of Mangamura is on his way back to Japan. That is Romi Hoshino, a.k.a. Zake Romi. It's the internet. You always get these titles back and forth. Has arrived in Ninoy Aquino International Airport. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. In Manila. And he's being extradited back to Japan. He apparently ran Mangamura, which was one of the big manga piracy sites. Yes. Oh my goodness. Will arrive back in Japan shortly. This was as of the 24th, so that was earlier this week, a couple of days ago. And he'll be arrested once he arrives in Japan. Police are waiting for him. Like this is part of that process. So what's interesting is he was taken into custody in the Philippines in July. And only now is he actually making his way.
So he's been sitting somewhere in a cell, probably.
Probably
not a comfortable spot.
No. But yes, so that is the latest step in the saga of Mangamura, which has been under great police scrutiny, I guess I would call it.
I suppose he's not going to be the only one involved in this. It takes a little bit of help from your friends to get something that big off the ground.
Yes. So we already have 3 other arrests. Wataru Adachi, Kota Fujisaki, and Shiho Ito, who are apparently friends of Romi Hoshino. And that's still ongoing. So we'll see where that goes. Who knows? Yeah, kind of crazy. Moving on to news of Naruto. We now have some more information about what's going on with the next season of Naruto, the next arc in Boruto, Next Generation, Naruto Next Generations. So the new arc that will premiere in October, so very soon, will feature Boruto and a young version of Naruto together. Together. And I gotta say, and let's be honest, everyone's curious. That looks like season 1 Naruto to me. That's not Naruto Shippuden. I don't think.
Are we going back in time?
I think we're going back in time. I think we are doing some kind of time jump or time travel thing with Naruto, and I'm gonna call it. I think what's happening is we had Naruto, we had Boruto. Now that we have Boruto, we're getting Naruto back so we can go back to Naruto again.
We're coming full circle.
And we're gonna have
a time loop.
Next year we're gonna have a new Naruto anime series, and that's gonna be the thing.
Could he be his own grandfather?
He could be. Who knows? I mean, it's Naruto, right? You can do anything you want to. So it's kind of weird, but very, very strange. We don't know what's going on either. We do know this is commemorating the 20th anniversary of the Naruto manga.
20 years?
20 years.
Naruto.
Yes.
Has it been that long?
It has been that long.
There are people who haven't been around as long as they're wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 20 years.
You can legally drink and have been born after Naruto started. Nuts.
Wow.
So this will be a 2-core arc, so 2-season, arc, half a year. So it'll end in March of 2020.
I'll walk through the arc.
Exactly. And then Naruto will be over forever, right? They could have stopped Naruto at that point, right? Because they can't possibly. No. We're gonna have. We'll have something.
Where there's a cash flow.
Exactly. Totally. So we'll find out. But yeah, who knows? And hey, people love Naruto. I'm not taking it. So moving on to news, I think everyone's excited about this. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people. A Certain Scientific Railgun Season 3 is coming, and it will be premiering January of 2020. So basically the winter season. No exact date yet. We know that Flipside will be doing the opening theme song, and Kishida Kyodon and the Akaboshi Rockets performing the ending theme song. This was originally supposed to premiere this year, but it got pushed back a little bit. Tatsuyuki Nagai is returning to direct at JC Staff, so that's good. With Shogu Yasukawa in charge of series composition. He's not part of the franchise in general up to this point that I know of. And otherwise, all the other details up there. Obviously, same voice cast returning in Japan. No big shock there, as far as I know of.
It would be if they changed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean there would be blood running in the streets. So Railgun is coming back. We've confirmed it. It'll be there just a little later than we all thought, which is pretty cool. Moving on to some news from Gen Urobuchi. Kind of interesting. Oops, that is the wrong image. I apologize, everybody. That is the Saga of Tanya the Evil. That's not it. So, Gen Urobuchi is going to be doing a new CG anime called Obsolete. Bit of an interesting term. Definitely
CG obsolete.
Yeah. Subtle dig at CG. Who knows? Definitely look like a sort of a hard military kind of a take.
Yeah, I'm from the preview, from what I've seen, it looks like if you like Appleseed, this may be one that you want to see.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Slightly Full Metal Panicky on the mecha designs. Definitely a little bit more grounded, more gritty.
It'll be interesting to see how CG has come along.
Definitely. Also remarkable because this will be a YouTube original.
When do they start doing that?
I know.
For us? For anime? For
kind of interesting.
Hey.
That'll be on the Bandai Namco Arts YouTube channel. It'll premiere in December, which will be available first to paid members and then streaming free for other viewers later. Don't know when. But that's pretty cool. So... don't know a bunch more stuff about it on the ANN, obviously, about, and they call them the Exoframes. I thought Exo Squad had that nailed down. I don't know.
Sounded familiar.
And so other information there are aliens involved, basically. Big shock there. I don't think they mentioned. I don't see any notes here about the studio. Buemon is the CG animation studio doing it. They worked on Girls Last Tour, Grand Blue Fantasy the animation, Code Geass Akito the Exiled, Cross Ong, Kuromukuro, and a couple other things here and there. Tada Never Falls in Love, 3D layout, Uzumade. So not a lot of like really huge things, but sound interesting. I'm always for more mecha.
More and more.
Personally.
Yeah.
Exactly. So no complaints there. Speaking of mecha, we also have some more news on the 40th anniversary Gundam promo anime. Yay, 40th anniversary. 1979 to 2019. So there was a little teaser image, which doesn't really show much. It's very much like just a few details with everything grayed out. Apparently what they're going to do is they're going to premiere a new promo which shows a redesigned version of the original RX-78. So they got a designer and, let's see here, Ken Okuyama, who designed the Enzo Ferrari, the 4th generation Chevy Camaro, and the E6 and E7 series Shinkansen, the bullet trains in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. So he kind of rethought the
That
iconic
is some
design.
serious design engineering.
So he went back and did a redesign, and apparently they're going to do a promo around that.
Wow.
And for context, every decade there's traditionally been some kind of anime promo for the 10th, 20th, 30th anniversary.
Makes sense.
So there was one in 1989 which had a clip of, it's called All That Gundam, and it showed every Gundam mobile suit in animation to date.
Oh my goodness.
I've never seen that, which was pretty cool.
That sounds awesome.
Katsuhiro Otomo of Akira, animated one for the 20th anniversary called Gundam Mission to the Rise. I've actually seen that one. It is a sort of Gundam's launching a space mission a promo thing, which is really cool. And then in 2019, they did a short called Ring of Gundam with Tomino and Yoko Kanno. I know. And it's like 90 seconds long. It's this really short thing, but really, really cool. And then they did the Gundam Perfect Mission, which also showed all the major Gundam mobile suits in animation almost to date that year. So the hope is, in other words, that this is going to be a sort of a celebrational promo. It's not going to be necessarily plot. It's going to be more, here are a bunch of mobile suits, here's some little something going on, designs.
Something to look at, some concept, thought-provoking for...
Yeah, exactly. We might see that mobile suit design in a Gunpla at some point. Yeah. Just guessing. I know. So that might be what's going on. Also should be pointed out that, obviously because of this, the... in fact, they've already said it. They're going to be releasing a high grade of that.
144th scale.
Yes. Gundam G40, they're calling it.
Industrial design version.
How
soon? December?
What is in December? Yep, in December. So December of this year.
Looking forward soon.
And the other thing is that Gundam model kits came out the year after Gundam did. So next year will be the 40th anniversary of Gundam model kits. So they're probably building up to that as well.
I wonder if they'll have a special edition just for that.
Yeah, it makes sense. So we'll see. So that's pretty cool. It's funny. John's mentioning Mal. We have Mal in the news as well.
And we're not talking malware. We're talking about my anime list.
Exactly. So HiDive has announced that they are partnering with My Anime List. Now, HiDive is a streaming service provided by Section 23, I think. Yeah, Section 23, an anime licensor over in North America.
Weren't they in Ghost in the Shell, Section 23?
Yeah,
Section 9.
So yeah, they're doing. I wonder if that's going to be referenced somewhere. Anyway, so HiDive is going to show Mal rankings on HiDive.
Really?
So you'll just see.
How's that going to work? If you've ranked something, it'll show popularity percentage.
So whatever is like the aggregate content or content rating for an anime, that will show up in its listing on HiDive.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. So,
I wonder how soon other folks like Crunchyroll or
right. What's also interesting is that because HiDive doesn't have everything, they're a more curated service. They're looking for more, I don't want to say high quality, but, they can kind of pick and choose. So they're not getting, 20 different anime and then putting them all on there because they really want to show the 3 or the 4. So the listings they're going to have are almost certainly going to have pretty high scores for MAL.
That makes sense.
So it's going to be a kind of nice synergy. In addition, my anime list is going to get an embedded high dive video player on the site, and it will show
cool.
it'll show some high dive programming on there. High dive is a subscription service, so much like Crunchyroll.
Do you have to? So would you have to have a subscription then?
I don't think so, because with regular high dive, I think you can see everything. Actually, I'm not sure how much you can see. I think it's the same Crunchyroll model where everything's like a week delayed if you're not paying for it, and ads if you're not paying for it. I've had a high dive subscription for a while because it's a couple of bucks a month.
It should be fun to see how this plays out. Like if you have both the subscription and MAL, and you want to watch the latest, versus if you don't have the subscription and you want to watch it, they might time delay it or.
And it's really smart on High Dive site, because they're now taking one of the major anime sites, one of the main places people go, and getting a lot of that traffic to watch High Dive stuff.
Look out, ANN.
Exactly. Well, and look out Crunchyroll and Funimation, because now that
those
can
guys
pull
have
some
model that may influence the industry.
Definitely. So hopefully they can get a little bit of the of that. Moving on to news about the new Chitose International Anime Festival.
Where?
This is at Chitose International Airport.
So, for all you anime frequent flyers.
Chitose Airport, the new Chitose Airport International Animation Festival, is in its 6th year.
So it's already taken off.
It's soaring through the sky. And so they will have 5 films competing in their featured animation competition this year. It will include Ongaku, Our Sound, which is an anime film adaptation of a manga called Ongaku. It's about a group of young delinquents who decide to start a band, basically, despite having never touched instruments before, because why not? That sounds a lot of fun.
The Clash!
Hey, exactly.
Wait.
And the 4 other films are from other countries, so Latvia, France, Chile, and Canada, which is awesome.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's very diverse.
Definitely. And then they've got other categories, international competitions, so forth and so on, family, music, that kind of stuff. Interesting. No Japanese works in the student competition. Kind of odd. So it's pretty cool. The event touts itself as the world's only airport festival.
No flights of fancy there.
No. Atsuya Uki, who directed Senko Roll and character designed Digimon Adventure Try, did the art for their poster, which is really cool. Very colorful and sky focused. So if you're going to be in and around New Chitose Airport, November 1st through 4th, you might watch that.
Get a ticket.
Get a ticket, exactly. Have fun.
You have to go through screening.
Finally, the anime film Promare, which premiered in the States, this was, I think, this week, ranked number 3.
Wow.
The day it came
impressive.
out. Which is very impressive.
That's quite a bit of support.
It should be noted that was a Thursday. So,
for a Thursday. That's
awesome.
Impressive. Anytime animation does well at the box office, I'm happy.
Exactly. So this is really cool. This is the latest film from Studio Trigger, of Darling the Franxx and oh gosh, I'm forgetting all the names now. But lots of other Gurren Lagann and so forth. Opened in 200 theaters in Japan earlier this year and ranked number 8 in Japan.
Wow.
Number 3 over here. So
that's an inversion.
Exactly. So for context, it earned about $11 million US in Japan. It's earned about $500,000 in the US. Earned that in its first day. And then there were basically 2 screenings, Tuesday, Thursday. Overall, $722,000 over 2 days.
Hey,
not too bad.
That is great.
Not too bad. It did rank at number 21 for the overall week. So, oh well, but fine.
Hey.
Yeah,
Keep
totally.
going.
It's there.
Show your support.
which is pretty cool. G Kids also began screening the movie starting on Friday in select theaters. And so, that's pretty cool.
Flame-wielding mutant beings.
Yes, this is a weird
Destroying
one.
half the world with fire.
Mad Burnish appears to fight off the mutants.
Anti-Burnish.
It is very much like a cheesy 70s anime concept, much as Trigger loves that kind of stuff, which is pretty awesome. So that's pretty cool. I've not had a chance to watch the film. I'm hoping it is as gonzo as it appears. Ironic, since we have an anime studio called Gonzo.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that we have that in anime doing well over here in America.
That's good news.
Cool news.
Good news.
So thank you all very much for watching. That's been the news for this week. Hope to see you next week. Have a good week. See what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You're making the headlines.
Hey!
For the news.
Exactly. All right. So we will switch back to main. Transition. There we go. I'm going to get some tea.
Tea.
So what do you guys want to talk about? While I went into the other room and start on the pod again. Somebody mentioned a Funimation dissolving into Aniplex? What?
Aniplex. Funimation dissolving.
That must have been a joke, right?
Aniplex and Funimation have sort of different markets that they're shooting.
Anifun or Funiplex.
So
Funimation and Aniplex merger. I did not see that in the news.
Merger. Funimation, didn't they get taken by Sony at some point?
Yeah.
So
Aniplex
and Sony would be the larger structure, but then Funimation and Group 21, 1200. Actually, Funimation and there's a game division that was new Sony initiative. Hey, thanks for the heads up on that. That's pretty cool. So, yeah.
Combines Funimation with Aniplex's French and Australian divisions.
Madam Anime Group.
Madman.
Oh. Thank goodness. I was going, what? That dyslexia gets me, huh?
Oh.
It is very entertaining how.
So what they're doing is Funimation reigns in America.
Yeah.
And they're saying, okay, you're going to get Aniplex's French and Australian divisions to manage.
Okay, so it's more of a distribution network.
Because they're saying Wakanim...
Sounds more like a branding thing.
Yeah. Wakanim is the big anime licensor in France. Madman is a big one in Australia. So this will now be able to compete directly with them. That makes sense.
Growing importance. This is great. I love this quote. Anime is a growing area of importance for us at Sony Pictures Television. Mike Hopkins said that.
Yeah.
So that's good news. Hey, Sony's listening to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Soon, only not yet. They bought Manga Entertainment earlier this year, which I had forgotten about.
Maybe I should look for a job there.
Yeah, exactly.
Sony, hey!
Return statement.
Integration of anime-related streaming services.
Yeah.
Global distribution. That's going to be interesting because in the past, global distribution has had regional variations. And some of that can be culturally sensitive to the to where it's being sent, and certain things appear or don't appear, and how that's going to be done on a global scale can be very interesting. And on the technological side, you can have the same content with inserts the way that streaming is done these days, because streaming and adaptive I thought it was I was amazed. Whoa, that sounds kind of weird, but it kind of makes sense now that I think about the distribution networks that the two would join, and it's almost like Sony's becoming the big market share for anime now.
So let's see.
With streaming nowadays, you can do regional insertion for the different variations on a show, and that can be, you know, they verify where you're coming from, and then in the adaptive bitrate stream, just tailor that one section that's different for your region, so they can stream stuff live. or they could have it, on demand. And the great thing about some of the streaming that can be done live is you can rewind and play it forward. Anyways,
yeah, totally. Aniplex is already owned by Sony.
They already were Sony.
Yeah.
Since '95.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did not know that.
News to me. They did such a good job with Aniplex.
Exactly. In the brain, totally. Totally in my brain. I've never seen a logo.
If I hear that in a room, I'm like, oh, anime.
There was something, we did that at I think at Otakon. There's some con I went to where that logo came up on the screen and just somebody went, Aniplex. And I was like, yeah. All thinking it. So interesting, yeah, so that makes sense. So basically, so Sony had Aniplex, fine, good.
Yeah.
They acquire Funimation, fine, good. And they're like, wait, we have both of these things.
Merge.
Yeah, merge them, make them do the same thing together. That makes a lot of sense.
I wonder where else Sony is going to incorporate things, because it sounds like they're putting Funimation as sort of a larger structure, absorbing the distribution.
Yeah. It sounds like Funimation is going to be the anime arm of Sony.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
With distribution and regional management set up in a database, yeah, there's lots of localities. So you think of something like a show like Shin-Chan, where could I have some tea, please?
Sure.
Thank
kind?
you. Yes, please.
What kind?
Green tea.
Green tea. Matcha or regular?
Regular. Hey, he's so kind. But Shin-Chan, there was an episode where the folks who were translating, when you see large shots and you see a sign in a marketplace or something, usually, sometimes somebody will have that translated in English. Sometimes they'll just leave it in Japanese. But the potential is you could have, whatever language insert in that section, in that small, 3 frames. Okay, substitute these 3 frames for this region and have it specific. The tricky part is if there are major regional objections based on standards and practices for that region. Like, I can't imagine certain spots in the Middle East showing some of these things. I can't imagine Canada, who has some very strict laws. I mean, anything that, okay, she's a witch, she's 900 years old, but she looks like a little girl. Is she really, you could get in trouble for stuff that we take for granted in some places is artistic liberty. And so I can see where that could be tricky, managing the regional. They have to have a very complex database that is high-speed interaction for the live streaming for all these different regions.
Exactly.
And then there could even be more restrictions based on, is this a 13-year-old or under who's got the subscription account? Is there, there's parental controls.
Lest we forget, it is illegal in America to own or distribute an image of any character that appears underage engaging in sexual activity.
But appears to whom?
Right, exactly.
That's a slippery slope.
But that law is on the books. That is part of the U.S. Code.
So you have to worry what the jury of your peers is going to think. Is this person look like they're underage or not? Is this just? It's a tricky thing.
Yeah,
it's a tricky thing.
Other ways to bypass region block aside from VPN. I like staying on YouTube, and one of the ways I stay on YouTube is by not explicitly stating how to get around region stuff. VPN is certainly a way of doing that. I have done such things in the past, I will admit, but unfortunately I can't talk about that stuff on air for fear of being,
I like to thrift shop and yard sale, and there are a lot of international families in my metropolitan area, and quite often I'll come across Region 2 DVDs. I buy the thing going, oh great, I finally got this movie. I get it home, I'm like, Region 2, my player's set for Region 1, and I find that I have a limited number of times that I can change it on my player before it's locked in. But there are certain players out there that will play any region. There are region-free software players, so that doesn't become as much of an issue for me if I'm playing it on a computer. But it sure does when I have like a desktop or
Yeah.
a standalone DVD player or something like that. And so I can't really loan those out to friends unless they know, hey, look, you're not going to be able to play this unless you have either a Region 2 or an international version. And they do make international version devices that will play multiple formats, that you can pay some money for it, or you can find somebody out there on the internet who can guide you to the more gray areas of that.
Hong Kong devices famously will typically, like DVD players, Blu-ray players, etc., will almost always have English language options because that's a universal language in Hong Kong, and will also have it will be region free basically because you have so many different regions mixing in that area. You want it to be region free, and that is for sale there because that is a thing that's important.
There's some great hardware hacks that are out there.
True.
That sites like videohelp.com allow you to research, well, what is my device? I'm having trouble programming it, and then sometimes people will find out, I did up, down, left, right, X, whatever, and that opened it up to the manufacturer's controls that they actually program this thing so that it set it at that. And so sometimes people will find these things. So it's not unheard of.
I had a DVD player at one point that I pressed certain buttons on the remote and it magically became region free. And yay. And so and it was exactly that, is that I was looking for anime and Hong Kong martial arts movies and such that were not available region 1. And so I was getting a legitimate copy. It was just a Region 3 copy or whatever. And, that was how I got it. Jacobellis versus Ohio. Nice.
Oh, now tell me about this. What's this?
So this was the famous pornography. Now I'm definitely get blocked on YouTube. The prawn.
Prawns. Those little shrimps.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Prawns.
There's the famous case where they had to define what if something was obscene or not, and the judge ruled. I
don't know.
Yeah, I think it's I can't define it, but I know
it when I
see it. Yeah, exactly. Which is an important thing, and I've gotten into debates about with people about this because I don't think people understand the fact that it is actually good to have a law that can be interpreted by humans on a case-by-case basis.
Flexibility.
Exactly.
Flexibility is the key, because if it's so hard and fast, black and white specific, it almost becomes like machine code.
Well, you get the situation you got in Japan.
No mercy, no exception, no.
Yeah, the situation in Japan was they decided to be clear. So they said if you can see naughty bits, it is thus obscene and we can't show it. So what do? You pixelate it, or you put a black bar there,
which
or whatever.
means that if there's a famous statue in the background of something, it's famous works of art, and of course nobody ever grew up nursing.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that became the situation. Right, and so you get all those things where but then a tentacle, isn't actually a naughty bit.
What if
so you can
this
show
is
that
actually an animal?
Yeah,
and not a human.
Totally. So yeah, it's not
that gets
great
really
to have
gray.
that.
There's lots of gray areas.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you want a law where you say, look, in the moment we can define it as obscene or not obscene.
Those horses need to be wearing pants.
In some caasses, yes. Actually, personally, there are times it's great watching like a riff track or something where they're panning across they're getting a shot of a horse and you're like, nobody noticed. Okay, wow, that horse is like a horse.
That horse. What a stud.
Yeah. It's like, wow. So yeah, but it creates all sorts of interesting situations in content and what you define as things. And of course, Japan also has the added complexity that it doesn't see Japanese society and Japanese law does not recognize art as a human being. So you can draw anything you want. And that is, nobody's being harmed in that drawing. And so that's, that's fine, right? It's not obscene in that sense.
I don't suppose you can do famous figures of state without...
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Wow. Freedom!
It's a parody, right?
Parody.
And you're...
I like that parody is protected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you can't make fun of yourself.
Now, obviously, it can cross the line into is it libel or slander?
Well, one's
down?
spoken and one's written.
Right.
So slander, I think, is spoken, and libel.
Yeah,
is
I think
written.
So it would be technically
So
libel
what would it be if it was art, though? I mean, if it's written, what if it's a video image?
Well,
I mean, it's not a printed image.
I mean, it depends on the context in which it's given, right?
Yeah.
If it's presenting that person in a way that is primarily damaging, then it's a problem.
Here's a fun one.
Yeah.
Ever heard this one before?
Arguments on anime fan side, sub versus dub. Another reason
Sub
arguments
versus
side
dub.
says two parts.
I want them both.
Yeah, exactly.
And more. I want not only subtitles, but I want closed captions as well as dub.
I want subtitles for the frickin' signs, please.
Some people do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about fan subs, because some fan subs, they'll actually put in the and they'll put in editor's notes.
Mm-hmm.
This is Big Sight. You should check it out. Witch's Cafe. This really exists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is and then they'll say stuff about this is Akihabara. Check it out. I've been here.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I like about fan subs that you don't get with official releases. Sometimes you get some notes, but there's some cultural things that some fan subbers have been really good about throwing in. I never knew that it was a traditional thing for upon graduation, boys would cut the buttons off their uniform and give them to their mom or their girlfriend or something, as a special thing. But I saw an editor's note in one of these things. Sadly, not all of these cultural anomalies are notated in official releases. So I do feel part of my heart says I love that in fan sub, and I'd love to see more of that in the official releases. I like the official releases because I know that I'm at least sending the support directly back, and it's not just going off into the ether. And a lot of people who are in fan sub eventually move into the industry and do subbing for real, which is kind of cool. Probably don't want to use that on your resume, though.
Yeah. So, Jay, can you give me some example of some of these more recent arguments within anime fandom? Because, to me, sub versus dub got solved when DVDs came out.
That was a war that I thought ended.
If you like subs, watch subs. If you like dubs, watch dubs.
If you want more dubs, learn to sub. Wait, no.
But yeah, but also don't yell at people for what they like. Right.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain shows that I want to listen to so that I can focus visually. Mm-hmm. And there's other shows that, okay, I don't mind reading. But, if I'm reading, I'm not paying nearly as much attention to all the details in the background of the picture. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's important. Mm-hmm. And I can go back and watch it again if I have time, but sometimes I don't. And so there's certain merits to each of them. What gets really interesting is when you look at a subtitle versus a closed caption versus the audio dub, and you can see multiple different levels of translation that have come through, and they don't always match up directly, and sometimes they have very different meanings, or sometimes the sequence, the order in which they send out the message of what's being said are different. And that's where you can really enjoy the differences between here's what the director is having the voice actors say, here's what the translator is saying, and here's the exact caption, because there's a difference between closed captions and subtitles. Closed captions are a special set of data set, and it's unique to the U.S. I don't think all of the other countries necessarily use it. There's other things for hearing impaired. There's also there's a lot of different audio tracks that can be laid down,
right.
But this is a data track, and so having that, you can toggle on and off that data track separately from a subtitle. Which, if you're working with a DVD and you're going through HDMI cables don't traditionally pass your closed caption data unless it's encoded into the videos in a specific section. And you have a decoder. But if you're watching from different sources, when it says closed caption, it may mean subtitle. You have to. There's a lot of differences in the subtleties between them. but they're different data streams.
Right.
Long story. Longer. Oh, I don't care.
So getting back to Jay's point, so another example would be the Vic Mignogna debate.
There's a debate.
Apparently.
What could that be?
Here's the thing. I think that a lot of that is actually an internet thing, as opposed to an actual anime community thing. I was actually watching a D&D, Dungeons and Dragons DM guy talking about this, where he said, I think, and I agree, I think there are a lot of things that are arguments online that are not actual arguments that real people have with each other.
I read a lot of arguments about sub versus dub online, and when I got to an anime convention, I don't think, maybe out of all the conventions that I've been to, I think I heard somebody mention something once, and it was more of like questions about this whole thing, and everybody's like, we want everything we can get.
Right, yeah.
Watch it and what you want to watch it, which I thought the argument had kind of been put to rest.
Yeah. And I think, again, like the VIX stuff, I don't hear people yelling at each other about this in real life. I think people have kind of decided for themselves which side they believe. I think
between Vic and
the other people,
the other parties involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the.
I
mean, it almost feels like. I'm not sure gossip would be the word, but it feels like it's premature for anybody to pick sides, because there's always, you get two sides. There's at least 3 or 4 stories there that don't get told and don't necessarily make it out into the public, and there's always more to what the story has than meets the public ear.
Yeah.
So I kind of, I taking the wait and see approach.
I may have mentioned this before. There's an Amish science fiction writer.
Amish?
Yes. So he's not technically Amish because he's one of those things where he is a variation. He doesn't believe every single thing. So you're not technically Amish if you are.
Oh, there's a lot of diversity
in
the Amish culture. Some use certain things, some don't.
So, for example, he writes these on a laptop. Right, so it's very different.
Not a typewriter?
No.
Asthma!
But he wrote this post about the U.S. elections, where he said, people have been asking me my opinion on the elections. And he said, my religion, my faith, and my community has one particular very strong value among others. And that is that unless you know what you're talking about, you shut up and let people who know what they're talking about have the floor.
That's a very wise approach.
And he said, I don't know enough about the political process, about what different people are accusing each other of what the impacts those have, all those things, to be able to make an effective argument to my fandom. I can't speak to this in a way that is effective.
I see a lot of that in the news. You get a lot of public opinion without people following policy to the degree that is required to make a very astute judgment on the case.
Yeah.
And astute judgments are usually based on things that you can't sum up in a soundbite.
Yeah. And so that to me is where I am with things like Vic. I don't know any of the people involved in this. I can't comment. I can't say who's right or wrong, definitively.
I feel bad anytime something like this happens in the community. I mean, you don't want it to happen. You don't want bad blood between parties. And if you suddenly choose sides, I mean, it just polarizes things.
Well, and here's the thing. I believe you can absolutely have your own opinion on what's happening in that situation.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that somebody else who has a different opinion on what's going on is necessarily wrong. They're just, having their opinion based on the information they have. And so you can discuss back and forth and say, well, I read this here.
About this?
Do you know about this? Do you know about this? But that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to convince them, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to, right? It's not our job to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, getting back to the more underlying question about a lot of these things, is that I think you can absolutely throw arguments about all sorts of things online and get people riled up and talking about them. But that doesn't mean you're actually having a debate per se.
I like this question.
Yes. Which here is a lighter question. What is everyone's favorite snack while watching anime?
Well, let's see. What have I eaten? I've been eating pretzels, cheese sticks. Not just cheese sticks, but the kind that are breaded, and you get marinara sauce, and oh my goodness, if I eat those, it makes me pass out. What am I talking about? That can't be good.
I'm trying to avoid doing that, man. I got to admit, if I have snacks while I'm watching anime, whatever I have with me is a serving. I will eat the entire bag of whatever it is.
It's going down.
It's done.
It's
like eaten.
I'm not paying attention to the food. I'm just eating it because I'm watching this. And how'd the bottom of the bag get there?
Yeah. Sometimes be a little more careful about that.
Chicken and biscuits.
Ooh, yeah.
Potato chips, beer. I do like to have a beer
biscuits.
sometime when I'm watching a beer or a glass of wine. Or
made famous on Mystery Science Theater.
Tea. Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
They made a joke about how they'd gone back in time. A monkey was about to change Roman history, and they couldn't explain to somebody how why that could be bad. And so they explained, okay, so Bobo goes off, kills somebody, and then in the future, there's no chicken and a biscuit. And she goes, Bobo is messing with my favorite snack cracker. Gotta find him. Go. Yeah. There are times. But yeah, let's see here. What? Mystery Science Theater 3000 is weird.
It's fun.
It's one of the things I love.
Anime theater.
We do. We need to do that. Another thing on the checklist to do.
Noodles. I'll eat ramen. I'll eat ramen, and I'll throw in frozen vegetables and egg and other stuff, and sometimes I'll mix that up. And
that's good stuff.
Spicy stuff.
Oh,
Nongshim ramen. That's nice and spicy. Makes me go, I need a beer.
Have you seen Samurai Gourmet on Netflix?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's about a man, a Japanese salaryman who just retired. Like literally, it's the day after he's retired, and now that he is retired and he's kind of just going around, doing his errands and so forth, he's like, you know what? I can now just stop in a cafe and have a beer whenever I want. I can have coffee. I can have a snack. And stuff keeps happening to him. He's also been reading a lot of books about the samurai era.
Oh.
And so whenever he comes into a uncomfortable situation, he imagines what a samurai would do in that situation.
Cool.
So whatever restaurant he's in suddenly changes into an Edo era, thing. Everyone's now wearing samurai outfits and so forth. So it turns into like a samurai movie for like 10 minutes. It's a Netflix original. If you haven't got a chance to watch it, and so it's great because it is, to some extent, a little bit about modern Japanese culture and so forth. But it's also very much this appreciation of food and food culture and what it's like and service and all that kind of stuff and what you expect and what a really good bowl of ramen can feel like. He's trying to find ramen and he stops in a Chinese noodle shop. And it is the worst restaurant, thick layer of dust on everything, rude server.
Why did I go to the House of Pancakes and order steak?
Right, exactly. That's fun. Cheddar popcorn. Ooh, yes.
Cheddar popcorn is good.
Yeah.
I found some pretzel bits that are honey mustard and onion.
Oh,
flavor.
Are those
And
the Snyder?
Snyder's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't stop eating those. There's so much flavor.
That is, again, one of those. It's a
those
bag this big, and that is one serving.
It's gone.
Done.
It's gone. And then I have the worst gas in the world.
Those are amazing. It's like each pretzel piece is like half seasoning.
Oh,
it's amazing. Yeah. It's fantastic. Food Wars coming October 1st. Great. Cool.
There was a show that I saw on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it. It was done by Japanese cinematographers going around the world, and they were seeing foods that were done, dangerous foods.
Interesting.
Okay, gang members have to eat. What do gang members eat in East LA? Okay, we're going to this space where these child warriors are sleeping in graveyards because they can't make enough money. What do these people do to survive and eat?
Yeah.
Because everybody around the world's got to eat. And so they made, I think, a 6-episode series of just going to the most dangerous places. Everybody's got to eat. And these are okay, here's the high class, here's the low class, here's everybody in between. You see what's the mafia king of this? And of course, you know, they're like blurring certain faces, and you know, they gave permission for this, but not for that, and you can say this, you can't say that, you know. And it was the coolest thing because
cool.
everybody's got their comfort food, their home food. What makes them feel like, you know, this is home.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great seeing, you know, everybody got to eat.
I'm watching an amazing live action series called Natsuzora.
Natsuzora.
It is a live action series with a little bit of animation. It's about a young woman who joins the anime industry in 1960. Yeah.
Wow, right on the edge there.
Right on the edge. So she's doing toy animation work, and so it's loosely based, very loosely based, on an actual woman who joined the anime industry and worked on I think Sea Prince and the Fire Child, a couple of like the early toy animation films.
So is this more historical or more fictional with the historical with embellishment?
Mostly fictional with some historical. It is apparently. So the desire is for it to be historically accurate, but the
names have been shuffled.
Names have been, you know, the events happening to this character are made up.
Okay.
Right, but they were things that happened during the time.
Real events, the person.
And you know, events shift around like you said. Natsuzora.
Peanut butter filled pretzels. I devour those on the road.
Those are
combos. Combos are another variation on that.
Absolutely.
Those are good.
So what's interesting is that Natsuzora, well, many interesting things. It starts. So she survived World War II. In the show, so it shows her as this little girl in World War II. She loses her parents. She ends up getting basically adopted by this family that takes her out to the country after the war's over, and they bring her to their house and they sit down for a meal, and she is blown away by the amount of food they have.
Well, after World War II.
Right, and that was the thing, is that if you were out in the country, you know, you had food. If you were, and they're like in Hokkaido.
There were some
so it's way out there.
Horrible stories about this. Subway tunnel kids.
Well, that was the thing, and when she was one of those. The character in the story, not the actual
surviving,
anime.
I mean.
Yeah. It was really interesting seeing that, like, if you were living in Tokyo, you had no food. But if you were living in Hokkaido and on a farm, you know,
you're closer to the source,
right?
Yeah,
you know,
obviously
it was, you know,
there's more chance of getting a freshly grown vegetable.
Right. And of course, this was like a year or two after the war, so things were getting a little bit better. Wow. But it's really interesting watching. So if you watch Natsuzora, be aware it opens with animation of bombers flying over Japan, dropping bombs, all that, and then they cut to live action. Because I think the idea was, okay, you know, we already have animators working.
Animation and...
Because it looks like Grave of the Fireflies. And that's exactly what it looks like. And so I think they were doing basically... I mean, there's animation. So the opening credit sequence is all animated. And so I think since they had an anime studio there, they're like, why do a CGI sequence of this or whatever? We'll just have it animated.
I have a strange question.
Yeah.
We've talked about some of the foods we like to eat during anime. What's the worst food to eat during anime? I kind of think something that I gotta pay attention to, like spaghetti, where I'm dropping. Although I eat spaghetti while I'm watching anime.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Oh yeah, because you get unless you have a bowl.
Yeah, even with a bowl though, because I'm not paying attention. The spoon goes over here, and I don't realize, and now it goes dripping a little bit. For me, that's probably the worst one. Honestly,
the worst thing to eat.
Drinking out of this, something a glass this tall. You know, I lean over to grab it, not really paying attention, and the glass goes everywhere.
Oh, I've done that so many times. So many times. Half my drink. Oh, that was the last one.
So it's beer, and now that's everywhere.
Yeah. Now I gotta wipe it up. I gotta pause. I can't just leave this on the carpet. It'll ruin everything. Yeah.
It's terrible. Pizza rolls are good.
Pizza rolls.
Great.
Yeah. Pizza.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, pizza anytime, any day. Pretty much. So Natsuzora is
ribeye. I like that ribeye. Who was it who said that? Ramen with a ribeye. JJ. JJ.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Chateaubriand. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, there's food animes.
That's true.
Food Wars.
Food Wars. Yakitate Japan. Right.
Ramen Girl Miki. What is it? Miki?
Oh, right. Ramen Girl Miki. That is so much fun. That was a lot of
Gets on
fun.
a bicycle, pedaling like crazy.
What is it? What's some other food
Heavy
anime?
stuff is
Man, that's weird. I can't. Oh, there was the series
I love
from like
this
last
saga.
year about a group of guys who all work at a basically a Japanese like tea and sweet shop.
Cool.
It was really nice. I started watching. I was like, "This is gonna be boys' love, isn't it?" This really feels, but it's not. It's just
People
five.
are working there.
Yeah, it's for suspiciously attractive guys.
Hey,
But
it's
that's
gotta be
it's
anime.
fine. Yeah, exactly. And it's just their daily lives serving customers and making food and so forth. Really nice.
Although, I gotta say, I always love A Quiet Country.
Ms. Kozu-san loves ramen. Yes. That's fun. There's a jet ski anime coming.
Really?
Ooh.
Cool. Yeah.
Speaking of,
I'm surprised there hasn't been one sooner. With
Yeah.
all the coastline Japan has,
No
you gotta
kidding.
have jet skis sometime.
so let's see here. In a chart. Let's have some fun, shall we? I'm gonna switch over here so you guys can see.
Fresh stuff, fresh anime, hot off the. Hot off
Local
the that's probably
desktop.
not a good phrase
Let's
right
transition. Actually, 1 second.
now. Freshly off the stream. Fresh out of the stream.
You can see us as well. There we go. So what have we got here? So coming up this season, we've got My Hero Academia 4. Actually, I'm not a big fan of this. That doesn't work. SAO Alicization War of the Underworld. And that's in a Taizi Kamigami no Gekirin, which looks like a third season of something. That looks familiar. But I'm not sure what that is. Assassin's Pride. Is this... Wait. Is this... Wait, fall 2019. Is that right? Yeah.
We're not 2020
yeah, okay. Psycho-Pass 3. Exciting. Season 2 Psycho-Pass. Shiki no Soma. 4th season of that. What else we got? Jihai Furu 3. Great.
Nice.
Fate Grand Order. Bokutachi wa Benkyo. Gadeki Nai 2. Which, again, I'm not familiar with that is. We are... Benkyo is lunch, right? We never study. Benkyo is study, right. We can't study. So, very serious guy is assigned to help two girls learn. We never learn. That's the title. Because one of them, I think one of them is always, what is it? The Sleeping Beauty of the Literary Forest, and the Thumbleeding is... Oh yeah, so that's it. One is fantastic at math and terrible at language. The other is fantastic at language but terrible at math.
Oh wow!
So it's that thing.
If I only had half a brain.
Exactly. So that should be fun. I saw the first episode of that and liked it a lot. Kono Yusha ga ore toya, no idea. Must want to hear to a hard mode video game like world. So another isekai series, fair enough. Kabukicho Sherlock. So it's a Sherlock Holmes thing.
Comedy.
Azur Lane, maybe based in the mobile game. A lot of those.
Mobile game.
The furry anime, Beastars.
A furry anime.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be. This is definitely like
Beastars. Oh, like Beast Stars.
Yeah, there we go. Ore wo suki nano wa omae dake kayo. Confess to you, another girl as well. Fair enough. No Guns Life, the next Madhouse thing. Looks fun. Babylon, suspense story.
Illegal
prosecutor,
pharmaceutical company. That sounds close to
Yeah,
home.
Exactly. Chojin Kokosei. I mean, high school students wake up in a fantasy world, so isekai, but do not panic at their current situation. They build a nuclear plant in a world without electricity.
Cool.
They control the economy of a large city in a short work trip. And finally, for the benefactor's sake, who are suffering from the misgovernment, they declare war on the evil nobles. So none of them is a normal high school student. Each of them are superhuman high school students. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
High School Girl 2. That should be fun.
Yes! I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. High School Girl. A basketball
Pet,
one.
Psychic Suspense Story. Hiro Nosora, yeah, basketball, definitely. 10 years old. It looks like a magical girl-esque thing, maybe. What else we got? Radiant 2. Looks interesting. I like the second season of Radiant. Tomare 2. Fair enough. No idea what that is. We have Blue Fantasy, season 2. Tennis. Fairy Gone 2. What is is that a sumo? A story follows Masked Wrestler. That's right. This is the wrestling anime. Well, not wrestling, but it's more. So remember Tiger Mask? Like the masked wrestler for like the 70s, who like it was wrestling, but it was more a superhero thing. Same kind of idea, apparently. Cool.
That one with that super long name looks kind of interesting.
Which one?
Right.
Hanzuki no Gakujo Shiya.
How long is that name? What's it mean?
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I have a thing for librarians.
Yeah, totally. Librarian killed, reborn, daughter of a soldier in a world literature and love books. Oh, I've heard of this. This was a light novel, I think.
DVD limited edition. Fourth part of light novel. So I wonder if they're going to require me to like read the light novel so I understand what's going on. Like Monkey Pop Phantom.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently it's about a librarian reborn as a girl in a world where almost nobody can read. And she can't stand this. And so there are no books.
Comes into the library. Well, there's no books.
That's the thing is that, she can't find a library. There are no books around. None of that kind of stuff. So you're kind of trying to create a love of reading in a new society, which is a noble goal. Yeah. Kind of interesting.
Isn't that like today though? Nobody reads. Yeah. Well, we read differently.
Yeah, exactly. Marimashite Iruma-kun. Sold to a demon. Sad. Living with a demon who's adopted him as his new grandson, transferred into a school in the demon world. Gotcha. Comedy, fantasy, probably harem. Val Cross Love. High schooler has learned to accept his lonely life. All high school anime, looks like, so far.
Rifle is beautiful.
Rifle is beautiful. That is the thing. That is the interesting thing. So this is actually, I believe, it's an anime about a rifle shooting club.
Oh my goodness, I was on one of those in high school.
Oh, cool.
I'm amazed that this has finally come about. Maybe it will teach kids it's for fun, not for killing your friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fantasy Star Online 2 episode Oracle. That's cool. Somebody Hero's Piece of Truth. Kanagawa, there it is. Kanagawa Jet Girls.
Oh, Jet Girls.
So this has got to be the jet ski anime.
Egg Firm.
Cool.
Jet ski.
Kanagawa Jet Girls. We'll check it out.
Jet ski.
Shinchuka Ichiban. 19th century. China.
Oh, wow.
Zoids. Neat. So there's Zoids. Actors, song connections. That must be a singing one. Yep, definitely. So that's set in China. I wonder if it's actually Chinese. Previous skills from the best chef in China. Death of Mao's mother. Source MU.
The era of the cooking wars.
Manga comedy.
Tags.
Interesting.
79%.
Cool. Some of the anime coming this season, or next season. The coming up season. That's
season.
What I mean.
Is it just turned fall,
season.
Right? Is this a new?
Yeah.
This is new season.
Will this be the new season as of
airing in the next week or so?
Yeah. There you go, for all your furries out there. You're good. Cool.
Yeah.
So that is what's coming up.
Up and coming.
All right, I think that will do it for us for tonight. We've been going for a little over an hour. Covered a good amount of news. Talked about some of the stuff coming up in anime world. Covered a few topics there. Always good.
Toothpicks?
Toothpick? No. I meant to show some of the drawings from Hobby Hopper for this week. We didn't get a chance to load them up in the in OBS. So I'm planning to do that next week. I will, because we'll be finishing up our Hobby Hopper hobby this month in a couple of days, which was drawing and sketching. So just wanted to give a shout out to everyone who's been drawing this month and posting that in the Discord. It's been really neat seeing what everyone's come up with.
I'm not saying it's sketchy, but it sounds like I've drawn that conclusion.
There we go.
Abruptly.
So yeah, it's been really exciting, and I will show off some of that stuff next week, and yeah, that will be the plan.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to reach Brent and his list of watched anime
Dragon Quest XI.
John, I think you're almost there. You've watched as much anime as I have. I'll bet at this point. But yeah, so yeah, that'll do it. Thank you all so much. We should be back next week. Oh, possibly this weekend. I'm gonna finish off Evangelion. If I do, we'll figure out something to celebrate and talk through all that stuff. But yeah, it's good seeing you all. Take care. Have a good one. Until next time, watch more anime.